Ever feel like no matter how much you study, your brain just refuses to absorb information, like you're cramming all night, but the second you need to remember it, poof, it's gone? Yeah, been there. But what if I told you there are some weird, almost ridiculous ways to learn faster, so fast it feels illegal? Some of these might sound crazy, but they work and they're backed by science. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have at least one trick that will change the way you learn forever. And trust me, the last trick is the weirdest one of all. Number 1, test yourself before you're ready. Be honest, do you ever wait until you feel ready before testing yourself? If so, bad news, you're making learning way harder than it needs to be. Active recall is the ultimate brain hack. When you struggle to remember something, your brain locks it in better because it hates gaps in memory. Think of it like lifting weights. It's painful in the moment, but when you go to lift that knowledge later, it's stronger. So next time you study, don't just read. Test yourself immediately. Even if you fail, that failure makes your brain work harder. And those who skip this, they'll feel like they've been studying twice as long for half the results. Number 2, teach a 5-year-old or just pretend to. Imagine I asked you to explain what you just learned right now with no notes. Could you? If not, you don't actually understand it. But here's the fix. Teach it to someone else, preferably a 5-year-old. Your brain works way harder when you try to simplify things. No complex words, no jargon, just the raw idea. If you can do that, you own that knowledge. And if you think this is just a fun theory, Feynman, Einstein, and every genius you admire use this exact method. So do it now. Seriously, pause this video, grab a random topic, and try explaining it in one simple sentence. If you can't, you need this method more than you think. Number 3, use the same background noise every time you study. This is one of the easiest brain hacks ever, but almost no one does it. Your brain loves patterns. That's why hearing an old song brings back floods of memories. The same thing happens when you pair a specific sound with studying. Pick a single background noise like lo-fi beats, coffee shop sounds, or even rain. Play it every time you study. Then when you need to recall the info, play the same sound. Your brain will instantly bring back what you studied. Yes, it really works. But don't take my word for it. Try it out and come back to tell me if it worked. I'll wait. Number 4, wear sunglasses indoors while studying. Your brain will hate it, and that's a good thing. Ever notice how when something is slightly harder to read, you remember it better? That's called cognitive disfluency, and it's a cheat code for learning. Wear sunglasses indoors while studying. Why? Because the slight discomfort forces your brain to focus harder, meaning it learns faster. Bonus tip, take off the sunglasses right before reviewing your notes. The instant contrast effect makes your brain feel like the info is brand new, making recall even stronger. Sounds ridiculous? And try it once and tell me if you ever go back to boring studying. Number 5, read while walking in slow motion. You know movement helps thinking, but what if you slowed it way down? Walking in slow motion while reading forces your brain to sync physical movement with cognitive processing. The more controlled and deliberate your actions, the more engaged your brain becomes in absorbing the material. Think of it like fine-tuning your focus. Studies show that deliberate movement enhances neuroplasticity, meaning your brain rewires itself to learn better. Try it. Walk unnaturally slow while reading and see if you don't remember the text better. Number 6, switch subjects every 25 minutes. No, this isn't multitasking. Let's clear something up. This is not multitasking. Multitasking splits your attention between things, making you worse at all of them. This is different. This is strategic subject switching, also known as interleaving, and it actually makes you learn faster. If you only study one thing at a time, your brain gets too comfortable and stops making connections. But if you switch between topics, your brain cross-links ideas, meaning you recall information faster and easier later. Think of it like cross-training for your brain, as switching subjects shocks your brain into staying alert and engaged, which means better retention without the burnout. Before we get to the final 2 tricks, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell's notification so you don't miss future videos. These last 2 are game changers, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Number 7, comic strip what you're learning. Welcome to dual coding theory. The dual coding theory states that your brain stores information better when it's represented in both words and images. In short, your brain remembers visuals better than plain text. So why just take notes? Turn them into a comic strip. Even if it's just stick figures, mapping out a process visually forces your brain to structure and recall the info better. Research from psychology and neuroscience confirms that combining verbal and visual learning creates redundant memory traces, making recall way stronger. So storyboard your notes, turn history into comic book battles, math formulas into cartoon equations, and science concepts into animated processes. You'll never forget it. Number 8, record yourself reading and watch it back, the ultimate learning multiplier. This isn't just a trick, it's a full-blown learning superpower. Step 1, when you record yourself explaining something, you're forcing your brain to organize information into a clear structure. Step 2, When you listen back to your recording, you reinforce what you just learned from a different cognitive angle. Step 3, replay the recording in your mind without listening to it. If you can mentally recreate what you said, you just proved you can recall it on demand. This method is backed by cognitive psychology research, showing that hearing yourself explain something enhances deep learning and long-term recall. If you do this, you'll be in the top 1% of learners. Here's the thing, true progress happens when you dare to think differently. The smartest people in history weren't just the ones who memorized the most facts. They were the ones who found unique, creative ways to solve problems. They experimented, took risks, and challenged the way things were normally done. And that's exactly what you're doing when you use these learning hacks. By thinking outside the box, you make learning easier, faster, and more effective. You don't need to be a genius, you just need to be open to new ideas, because when you stop following the usual path and start creating your own, that's when real breakthroughs happen. And so keep questioning, keep exploring, keep finding your own unique way to succeed. As usual, all the research related to this video is in the description. Thanks for watching, and remember to box outside the think.